Hi Leos, and welcome to your April 2019 Tarology 33 reading. And we have a Celtic Cross spread in front of us as always, and then we have some Oracle cards and a Mudra card to get through, so quite a bit. So it looked like a pretty erratic spread in the beginning, but you got some pretty good stuff in the outcome position, so we'll see if that means that, this energy is going to work itself out throughout the month or what, but you guys will see what I mean. It could just be that there's two different groups of you that are experiencing some things too, but we'll see as we talk through it. Let's start with the main situation, which is you guys have the Two of Swords. So to me, this is typically, a card pointing to needing to make a decision, and even the card itself won't focus. I don't know if that's a bigger symbolic thing in itself, but basically, this is a card that represents the first 10 degrees of Libra. And the way I typically view it is not only trying to make a decision between two options, but trying to do it strictly based off logic, all right? If we look at the background there, there's the water, the moon. If we want to look at either of those symbols pointing to emotions, that's one thing. The person with the blindfold, like, all right, I don't even want to see, anyone or anything that could influence my decision. I want to completely have it all in my mind, right? And even if we look at their arms crossed, if we look at that blocking their heart, right? They're like strictly trying to make this decision based off logic and nothing else. And so I have the feeling that that's the energy that you guys are in right now. Um, I remember last month your reading was saying how your finances were looking good, but your love life not so much. So I don't know if this is still maybe something related to your love life, which would make sense as far as, like we said, there are the symbols of the emotions there, the water and the moon, but you're just trying to take all of the emotion out of a decision, perhaps. In the challenger obstacle position, we got the Nine of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Page of Cups. So, all right. So there's a few different ways that this could be playing out. One, for starters, here, this is a very guarded energy. This is someone that's been through some battles, and they don't expect those, challenges or obstacles to stop anytime soon, right? But I do say what I always find interesting is when this card does come out with that Two of Wands, it's almost like if we were to say that that actually was a blindfold instead of a bandage, right? Then you could see the parallels there between this and the Two of Swords, saying that, maybe you're coming out of that energy of trying to make a decision strictly based off of logic and not emotion, right? Maybe it's like lifting the blindfold a little bit to take a peek, right? But still feeling a little bit iffy, if you will. And then that seems to be carried on even more with the Queen of Cups energy here, because yes, this actually is a court card for Cancer, by the way, which is where the North Node is, and that's your 12th house. So that could definitely be, things that you have kept inside that you're not really letting out. So that would go along with those cards as well. But what I always think about with this card is this is the one card in the Cups suit that actually has a closed off cup. You know, so there could be something to that too. This is a closed off energy. This Nine of Wands is a pretty closed off energy. Then you have this, and then we do have the Page of Cups, which, we could see clearly their cup is open, but at the same time, looks like they still needed to clear some things out, right? So maybe this could be the reason for your being closed off. Maybe you're still healing from something, right? So this could be a symbol, like I said, if that's a bandage, the person would be healing from a wound, right? Still closed off, that's a symbol that she'd still be healing. And then it's like, I feel like this card could be saying that if you do open up right now, the timing wouldn't be right because, the way I view this is like the person didn't even clean out the cup to make sure it was presentable yet, right? They just like rushed it. With the pages, I view it as they're not as comfortable with the energy, like the Queen of Cups would be per se. So it's usually a genuine offer, but it's just not, it might not come off as clearly as it should, or might not be taken as seriously as it should. That's another way that it could come across too. So this could just be staying guarded for now. If it's, like I said, if this is just a continuation of the love difficulties you guys were having last month, it's like you're still healing a bit. You're just not quite ready to open up yet because you have a feeling if you do, you know what, it's the timing's not going to be right anyway. You guys are pretty heart-centered to an extent, so that could be it too. You're like, you know what, I know the timing isn't right. Let me just heal a little bit more. Conversely, this could be you being closed off because you feel that, you know, an offer being made to you can't be taken seriously, right? You feel like you can't trust the offer. Quite literally, something seems fishy about the offer, right? So you're like, I don't know if I could trust that right now. So those are the main vibes that I'm getting with those cards. But either way, a lot of closed off energy going on there. That's pretty undeniable, and most likely as a result of healing from something. But we'll see as we go along. In the foundation position, we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Four of Pentacles. So once again, more closed off energy. But I don't always view this card as negatively as some people do. What this could just be pointing to is a new idea for a beginning. Naturally, we first think of finances with the pentacle symbol there, but it could be any area of life, something that would bring you stability that you have in your mind, but you just haven't enacted the plan just yet. It's still in the idea stage. That's how I viewed aces. That cloud, it's like the idea is up in the clouds, right? It's not firmly planted on the ground yet. It's something on your mind. You're trying to think of how can I enact it. And maybe that's what the Four of Pentacles energy is pointing to there, saying, okay, this is an idea I have to get something off the ground. Now, how do I tangibly and practically make that happen, right? So, the Four of Pentacles, yes, it can be seen as a closed off energy. Sometimes it's referred to as the Miser card. But I see it as a combination of Saturn and Mercury energy, which is to say that, okay, you're thinking, what's the smart way to invest my resources, right? How should I invest them? When should I invest them? Where should I invest them? And so that could be what you're thinking about right now. In the past position, you have the Five of Swords. So, this would very easily tie into what I was saying there. If some of you guys are healing from something, that could be what this was about, right? You could have had a petty conflict with a significant other, a group of friends. There is more than one person there, so could even be in the work environment as well. And maybe that was a lesson learned for you too, like if this was a conflict that you had, because this is how I usually view the Five of Swords if we're going to put it in a love context, which would be to say, I view these as the three swords, right, from the Three of Swords, and rather than the person taking the proper time to heal, they convince themselves, oh, I'm healed, I'm over that, right? But they're still carrying those three swords around. They're just unaware of it. So as a result of that, right, when you haven't healed, then you could cause harm to others. So that could be how it was playing out for you, or it could have been the other person. Again, maybe that's them in a challenge position where that they're not healed, and you're like, maybe that's why you're reluctant to move forward with them. You're like, you know what? I know it's just going to lead to this type of scenario. I've been down that road before. I'd rather avoid it, right? But yeah, like I said, this could have just been any conflict. And usually when I look at this card, I view it as this is one of those battles and conflicts that going into it that nothing good's going to come out of it, but you still do it anyway. So that could be what that's pointing to there. In the present position, you got the Sun card and the Page of Wands. So the page, doesn't represent a specific fire sign, but it could certainly point to you since you guys are a fire sign. And then the Sun, Typically strength is your main major arcana card, but since you guys are ruled by the sun, this is another card that points to you as well. This could just be saying to me that you guys are healing in the present. You might be feeling better. With the sun moving into Aries, that could help as well. Obviously, it's a fellow fire sign, so you'll have the sun, which is your ruler, in a fellow fire sign. You'll have Jupiter in your fifth house. So those two energies combined could really help you, just feel a little bit reinvigorated. And that could be what that page energy is pointing to as well. You guys normally would be considered and represented by the King of Wands, but maybe this is just saying if you were coming out of a tough time, now you're actually feeling reinvigorated and more playful, get in touch with the more playful side of yourself. That's the main vibe that I'm getting there. And given that Five of Swords and some of these closed off energies there, this could even be for some of you coming out of a depressive period that you might have been going through as well. So something to keep in mind there, especially because in the near future position, you guys have the Four of Swords. So to me, this is a card that represents healing. It's still a somewhat closed off energy, like the Two of Swords as well. But usually it's a well-timed and well-intentioned closed off energy, meaning that it has a purpose behind it, which is to say that you're healing, right? So it's interesting to have this immediately come after the Sun card there, if it seems like the wound was in the past, right? But I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily play out so linear, right? Maybe it's saying that you're finally out of that energy and you're still healing, and that's why you have those cards the way you did in the challenger obstacle position. But just to be freed of whatever situation you were in the past is already making you feel like you're on that right path, right? That could be primarily what's going on there. Or conversely, if this was someone else you were dealing with, maybe this is saying that, you're both getting on better paths now. Whereas, if you're in this energy and they're in the Four of Swords energy, which is to say, all right, they might not be doing as well as you are right now, but they're on their way to actually finally healing in a healthy way. And this could definitely be pointing them as well, since we have the Two of Pentacles in their position. But we'll get to that in a little bit. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the King of Pentacles, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. So pretty big difference in energies there between the two. I mean, they are both pentacle energies. This could just be saying that maybe you've achieved a certain level of success, right, in your career or whatever area of life you want to focus that on. But this, Taurus is your 10th house too, and this is the court card for Taurus. You could see the bull symbols there. So this could just be saying that you've reached a certain level of success in an area of life, but you don't necessarily feel fulfilled by that success. That's one way that could be playing out. Or another is that, it could be saying that you're at this level, but you just don't feel that way, So that might sound like the same thing, but what I mean by that is, it's not that you feel dissatisfied by the growth. It's just that you feel like you still have so much more to go, right? So you might still feel like the path is the right path for you, but you're like, oh man, I still have so much more to really get to where I want to get. Even though others might view you in this way, which is to say they do think that you're very successful. But by your standards, you're like, I still have a long way to go, But like I said, for others of you, it could clearly be that as well, which is say you did get the level of success that you thought you wanted going in, but now you're standing there like, well, you know what, this was what I thought I wanted, now I have it, and I'm not sure that I feel fulfilled, right? So that could be what these energies are about too. You're torn between two paths. Like, all right, do I stay with this? And maybe that's why the Nine of Wands card too. If we look at him, he's looking down at that Ace of Pentacles from the position in the spread. So, could be saying that you are considering a change, let's say in careers, right? You're like, okay, I have a certain amount of level of success in my career right now, but I kind of want to move towards something else, right? Maybe something that's more emotionally fulfilling as opposed to, okay, yes, I'm just stacking up money, but, I still feel like I'm not fulfilled on an emotional level. So maybe you're looking at, all right, well, if I do want to change paths, right, what do I have to do, right? All right, should I start saving up money then? So that way, when I do make that shift, you might not make as much money in the second path right away, right? So, like, okay, if I make this move, I'm going to have to be really tight with my finances, take my time, and really, make sure that this reset goes off as smoothly as possible, right? And if that's the vibe that's flowing with you guys there, then that could be what this Two of Pentacles is about. Because this is the influence of the environment. So this could be someone that you're dealing with that's feeling this way, or this could just be saying the influences in the environment, meaning the energies that have you ready to perhaps shift gears and move in another direction as you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, how am I going to manage that, right? Like, let's say you're in a corporate job making a 6-figure salary or whatever, and then you're like, okay, but I really want to do this thing that I'm passionate about, but I'll make half as much money, right? So, okay, how do I rebalance my budget and my finances to actually make that transition without really getting knocked on my ass in the process, right? That could be what that's pointing to there. But for some of you, for those of you in relationships, this could be the person you're dealing with, then their finances could be a bit topsy turvy right now, which is holding you up a little bit because there's a lot of weird energy going on in your eighth house right now, Pisces. We had Mercury going retrograde through there. It's squared Jupiter. It's going to meet up. Well, at the time I'm recording it right before the sun's officially going into Aries. So, we're still in the retrograde at the time I'm recording this. And it's still towards the very end of March before April kicks off. It's going to meet with Neptune again. So that could cause confusion as well before it finally goes direct. So, maybe there's been maybe not your finances directly, right? Maybe you've been fine financially, but the person you're with, their finances might be a bit more topsy turvy. And, if you guys have combined joint finances, then that could throw you off some too, right? So maybe that's what's going on there. If that's the case, Venus is going to be moving into Pisces. I think it'll already be there by the time April kicks off. So that could help smooth over any bumps that might have been taking place in that area of life. So that's a positive. All right, in the hopes or fears position, this was an interesting set of cards there too. You got the Four of Cups, the King of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. So I will point out that these two cards in particular, these are both the Aquarius energies, which is your opposite signs. This could definitely be related to relationships for a lot of you. This Four of Cups is actually a Cancer card, the last 10 degrees of Cancer, so right before your sign, and that's actually where the North Node is right now too. But these three cards together, I have a feeling that these two are your hope, meaning that you're hoping to turn down offers, right? Because, like I said, maybe there's offers coming your way that you're really not trusting. That's what that Nine of Wands and the Two of Swords energy is about. And maybe like you emotionally might still feel connected to the person, but logically, okay, I know they've lied to me about XYZ. I shouldn't trust them, right? But maybe just emotionally, it's hard for you to say no to them. So maybe this is saying you're hoping to be able to take on that, Aquarius type energy, which is very stern and, not necessarily detached, but definitely able to, make sure that they don't let emotions override their logic, basically, in that regard. And the Seven of Swords would be why you're hoping to have these energies, right? Is because you fear that they will deceive you again. So that was the main vibe that I got there. But and this could play out financially too. Let's say you're being made an offer for a job, right? And maybe you feel you're worth this much, right? But they're trying to offer you something more like that, and you're like, yeah, you know, you want to turn that down because if you play hardball with them, they're going to have to meet you at your level because you know that they're being deceptive, telling you, oh, we could only give you this much, but they have more that they could offer you. They're just trying to lowball you right now. That could be what that's pointing to there. Um, and then at the bottom of the deck, too, we have the Three of Wands energy, which is the waiting for your ships to come in energy. That's how it's usually referred to. It's like a combination of Mars and the Sun energy, so basically your energy. So that could be what that's pointing to as well. Saying that, all right, you know basically what you should be getting, and you might feel like, all right, you're going to have to really let them know you're not going to accept anything less than what you feel you deserve, right? And there could be some back and forth with that. So that could be what this points to, the back and forth with the finances, you know. Maybe they come to you with the first offer and it's really low and you know it is and you know they could do better and you decline it. So then there's like that back and forth push pull. All right, well, we'll give you this much. Or, okay, we can't give you more money, but we'll give you more benefits, you know, and they give you some other offers along the side. So something to keep in mind there. But however weird and odd the spread did seem, I mean, it didn't seem as bad as I started to talk through it, but for some of you guys, probably still like, what is he even talking about? And for that, I do apologize, but you know, I can only go off what I see with the cards. And but in the outcome position, you guys got the World and the Wheel of Fortune, so pretty sweet cards to wrap up the whole reading. So whatever is going on, it does seem a little chaotic at the very least, like a lot of push pull and uncertainty. But the World card coming up in the outcome shows that there's some kind of completion going on. Um, you know, this is a Saturnian type energy. Saturn is in your sixth house right now as we speak. So it could definitely be related to work. You know, maybe that was the challenge you had to learn, right? Because your South Node is in, I mean, the transit South Node is also in that house right now, too. So, you know, maybe this is saying leaving behind a career where you know they're not going to pay you what you're worth and moving on to something better, or, you know, standing up for yourself as far as finances go, knowing that you're being underpaid and asking them for more, right? There's a few ways that could play out. And then with the Wheel of Fortune, to me, that just represents the timing, you know, and we see those fixed sign symbols in both cards too, which is interesting. You know, you have the Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius. Same thing here. You know, you have your Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio. So definitely some significance to that too, I would say. And the fixed signs too are about perfection, if you will, to an extent. Not to inflate your egos. I don't mean that you guys are perfect in any way, but I'm just saying that, you know, energetically they represent that perfection. So whatever's going on, it looks like it's going to pan out pretty well. It does look like it'll be a little bit bumpy, though, I will say. So, you know, and I feel like that was kind of what you guys had going on last month, too. It's like, all right, one area of life was going great, the other one was a complete mess. So maybe this is just still a bit of a continuation of that, but pointing to healing taking place where it needed to, and then forward movement, and then successful completion of whatever lessons you guys needed to learn from all of those experiences. All right, and then we'll get to your oracle cards next. You got two from the first deck, and the first one you got was exchanging gifts, which will not focus right now. There we go. And there's the artwork for it, and that's number 27. We'll read those messages first. All right, it says the law of giving and receiving, currency, trade-offs, weighing cost, and determining value. The Oracle's message: you're entering into a productive and enriching time when all manner of opportunities are being offered to you. You have everything you need to seize them. Yet in order to honor them, you must put in the time, exchange your experience and skills, and commit heart and soul to what you're choosing to pursue. You can do it. You have what it takes to be successful if you align with the law of giving and receiving. You must engage in a dance of give and take, push and pull, doing and being. If you let fear guide your choices, you could deplete yourself or create an imbalance. This is not a time of just do, do, do. Use your currency wisely and be mindful of the value others bring to your life. So use your currency wisely. Before I forget, that reminds me of the Four of Pentacles that we had in the foundation. And we already covered what I said about that. What else? What else? There was something else in there that popped out to me. If you let fear guide your choices, that made me think of the whole, Nine of Wands and perhaps being a little closed off in that regard. So, a couple of things in the main spread that point back to that message there. The relationship message says love is an exchange of life force energy between two beings. It grows exponentially when it's reciprocated. You must give and receive in order for love to flourish and abundance to flow between you. Spirit wants you to start accepting all the blessings waiting for you, as well as offer the same gift in return. Open your heart and allow it to be filled. Let love in and let it flow out of you too. Love is truly yours today. So it could even be one of those things in the relationship context where, you guys did go through that conflict, right, as a couple. And maybe it's that challenge where you guys are both in a standoff where who's gonna who's gonna extend the olive branch first, right? Who's gonna make the effort to get things back on track? So maybe that's the problem there, and it's saying, look, if you want to, if you want to receive, you have to give as well. So if you're in that stubborn energy and they're like, oh, I don't know if I should make the first gesture or not, maybe it's saying that you guys have to heal, which it looks like there is some healing here, like we said before, and maybe as you guys come out of that, you'll move forward and get things back on track. All right, the prosperity message says all your hard work and efforts, your commitment to learning, creating, and spending your time wisely pay off in ways you may not have been anticipating. The gifts of yourself, your time, your ideas, and the energy of your intentions are being reciprocated by the universe, which is sending you signs and signals, aligning synchronistic meetings and opportunities to bring you success, and more. Everything is an exchange. Keep doing what you're doing. Goodwill comes back tenfold. So, that's a pretty good message there as far as keep doing what you're doing and goodwill comes back tenfold. Like I said, maybe if you're feeling a bit unfulfilled in some way, maybe it's just saying if you keep on that right path, things might start coming to you in another way, and that could be what that Wheel of Fortune and world is pointing to as well, that do leave you fulfilled, but in ways that you didn't necessarily expect, right? Okay, and let's look at the next message you guys got. The Oracle card Y. That's the artwork for it there, and it's number 31. So this is something that leads me to believe that it could just be that this reading is really split among two groups of you too. Like one of you is on one path, another's on another, but we'll see if this card also resonates with you guys. It says motives driving intention, the power of knowing the why. The Oracle's message: there is great power in understanding your motives right now. The Oracle asks you to be very clear about why you're asking this question, looking for this answer, behaving in this way, and most important, making this choice. Knowing your why is the key to fulfillment. When you are clear about it, your intention will then be a magnet for miracles. Motives define the nature of your experience. When you think about something, feel it, and then act on it. This invisible why is the life force energy within the seed, which brings it to life and holds the potential for growth. All right, the relationship message says we don't always know why we engage in our relationships in the way we do, mostly because our feelings aren't always logical. Now is the time to recognize whether you are being triggered by someone else or if your behavior is motivated by unresolved issues in the past. When you ask yourself, why am I feeling like this, and why did I say that, and spend some time in introspection, the answers may be surprising. Listening to the messages from your intuition, from the knowing deep within you. What does it tell you about yourself and others? In the end, life is all about being loved. Miracles and deep understanding of your needs and how to get them met are the buried treasures of the why. Uncover them by posing the most powerful question you can ask yourself and your partners today. Why? So what's interesting about that one actually, it says, we don't always know why we engage in our relationships in the way we do, mostly because our feelings aren't always logical. So that immediately made me think of what we were talking about with the Two of Swords, right? Where you're trying to remove emotion from your decision and make it strictly based off of logic. And it's saying that maybe that could just be leading to more difficulty, right? Which is where, if it was that other scenario I said this is almost like the person lifting the blindfold, like, I don't know, still not sure which way to go. It could be because of that factor. And, and if it says if your behavior is motivated by unresolved issues in the past, that made me think of what we were talking about with the Five of Swords, too. So maybe, there's something either in you or in the other person that's been unresolved that causes this repeated cycle of conflict, or, even if this was the first time happening, you're like, where the hell did that come from? Especially with the retrograde energy that could have brought something out of them. But yeah, maybe that's what that's pointing to there. And if that's the case, like I said, these two cards together, it's better to move from the 5 to the 4 in this case. Usually you want to see an increase, but this is actually a positive because it's saying there's a good chance that that energy is going to finally be put to bed because, like I said, to me, I view that as someone jumping from the Three of Swords energy and skipping over this step and ending up here over and over. Whereas, okay, you go through that Three of Swords, but you take the time and the step to properly heal, you can avoid that, basically. So maybe that's just saying, and maybe that's what the world is saying there. Yes, you guys went through that, but whoever needed to heal, one or both of you do the correct healing and finally put that crap behind you. All right, and then the prosperity message says, knowing the motives behind your career and creative ventures is the ticket to your greatest success. It's time to ask yourself some probing questions. Are you being driven by a desire to serve? Does your prosperity impact the greater good? When you envision your most prosperous life, are you guided by a sense of purpose or by a need to make money, acquire things, save for the future, or all of these? No motive is good or bad, but having agendas hidden from yourself will lead to disappointment and possibly failure. Be clear about why you want the things you do. If your motives are true, accept them. If they are not, change them so you can step into your extraordinary life. So, to me, that resonates as well with what we were saying as far as, like I said, if you're feeling unfulfilled, right? Maybe you get a certain level of success in a certain way, whether it be financial or just social recognition, but you still don't feel fulfilled overall. That could be saying, all right, maybe you need to look at that and say, why are you on that path anyway, right? So, for me personally, I don't know. Like I said, it's definitely going to be different for you guys, but in a way, I feel like this card here resonated with the main spread better than the exchanging gifts one. But hopefully, you guys got something out of both of those cards. And then the last Oracle card you guys got was from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, and it's the Sandpiper Spirit. And it says, Be Playful. So, before we even look at the message, there's the artwork for it. It's number 51. But I was going to say, before we even look at the message, the Be Playful, that immediately takes me back to what we were saying with the sun energy there, right? And the Page of Wands. So, we'll see what this adds to the mix. Okay, the Oracle message says, Sandpipers are like cute little clowns, poking their beaks into the sand before darting off to chase the waves. The appearance of Sandpiper Spirit is a sign that now is the time to engage your playfulness. Whatever task you have before you, perform them with a lightness of being. Explore the familiar, discovering the new and the old. Who knows what treasures await you when you let yourself laugh and have fun. Sandpiper Spirit's happy and curious nature can help you to feel rejuvenated as you remember your ability to run and fly and dance playfully. So, that could be what that's saying there as far as, like I said, if you are. Maybe it's just that you've been working too hard even, right? And you need a vacation or something. Maybe that's, Doesn't always have to be such a large scale thing, right? It could be as simple as that. It could be working too hard, or maybe that's even what your relationship conflicts are about, where you're like, I never see you anymore, what's going on? And maybe this is saying, try to take a vacation and reconnect with the playful side of yourself as opposed to just always worrying about the next, goal in your career and let things fall back into place. I don't know, but hopefully you guys got something positive out of that card as well. And then finally, we have a Mudra card. So for those of you who don't know, every month I've been pulling a Mudra card this year for all the signs. And what a mudra is basically, it's a pose or a hand gesture that you'd make while meditating, usually for a minimum of 5 minutes. Some of them they say half hour, 45 minutes, but I mean, if you don't meditate at all, then 5 minutes should be fine. You just got to quiet your mind for a bit. And the mudras basically they help to clear blockages, whether they be emotional or sometimes even physical. And this is the actual mudra itself that you guys got. It's the Bhramara Mudra. So this would be the gesture or the pose that you'd make with your hands. The keyword for this one is harmony. And we'll flip the card over to take a look what it says. So I'll just leave that up for a second in case you guys wanted to pause it and read the message or, take a screenshot, whatever. And now I'll move up so you can see the rest of what it had to say. But yeah, as you could see, for benefits, it says improves the health of the lungs and large intestine, balances the immune system, particularly in cases of immune overreaction, reduces allergic reactions to food and pollen, soothes cough, and irritates lungs. Actually, this is a great mudra for this time of year because, depending on where you live, but for a lot of us, spring is about to start kicking off, and allergies are about to start going crazy in April. So you guys definitely might be able to get some use out of that mudra. So keep that in mind. Hell, I might actually try that myself if allergy season kicks in pretty hard this month, as it tends to. But we'll wrap up there, guys. I'll put the name of the mudra in the description of the reading as well, in case you guys wanted to look into that a little bit more. And also, if you guys wanted to book a personal reading, you could check out the description of the reading where you get a little more info on that as well. And you could also follow me on Instagram where we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology. But if not, I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.